Hey guys, it's Christy. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Primetime Football. This is week 2 of the preseason. This is our second episode. Last week my Cowboys did not look good at all, but sometimes that's a good indication that they're going to do okay during the season, so fingers crossed. My daughter likes the Steelers and they won. And the kid they had out there, their 2022 quarterback draft pick, he looked really good. He'd look really good. So I'm anxious to see if he gets to play in the regular season. For some unknown reason, my son that's stationed on the West Coast really likes the Jets of all teams, and they pulled out a win. My brother went to see the Commanders play, and they did not win, but he had a good time, and it was a close game that really came down to the last minute. So a lot of the games were close, actually. Good games for preseason, especially for preseason. So tomorrow night, my Cowboys are playing again. We play the Chargers. I'll just go ahead and say it. It probably won't end well for me. But it is what it is. It's football and I love it. So here we are. Like I said, episode 2, week 2 of preseason football. And today's case I have for you is about this couple. You will notice again that I have the National DV hotline posted. This case is heavily DV involved. So if you or someone you know is experiencing DV in a relationship, I would encourage you to call the hotline and let them help you get to the resources that you need to get away from it. So this week, we are going to talk about Chad Wheeler and what he did to his beautiful girlfriend in this picture. Her name is Alleah Taylor. This story it's awful. So let's start out. We'll talk about the monster in the case, who is Chad Wheeler. Let's see here. This down and switch to the monster for a little bit. So Chad Wheeler is a former NFL offensive tackle. He is 28 years old, and this is significant, and you will see why later. He is 6'7" and 318 pounds. He played in college for the USC Trojans from 2012 to 2016. He suffered multiple concussions, a torn ACL, and a bout of plantar fasciitis. He was not drafted out of college due to injuries and off-field issues, which we will get into, of course, but was signed by the New York Giants as an undrafted free agent. He made his NFL debut in 2017. He played for the Seattle Seahawks from 2019 to 2020. He was waived from the team after being charged with 3 counts of felony domestic violence for severely beating his girlfriend, Alleah Taylor. So, as you can tell, this is going to be a nightmare of a case. And once again, we've got this guy that, even before the NFL, he was already in trouble. He was already having problems. And I wish that somebody would have said something or done something sooner. So Here we go. This happy looking fella, right? He played for Santa Monica High School in California and had shoulder surgery in his senior year, which was 2011. December 19th of 2015, Wheeler was involved in an incident on the USC campus. Los Angeles police responded to a call at 8:45 a.m. at an apartment in South Los Angeles near the USC campus. The police arrived and the suspect, who was identified as Wheeler, was confronted by police who were concerned he might grab a weapon and got into an altercation with them. That led the police to shoot him multiple times with non-lethal beanbag rounds. Wheeler was detained by the police but not arrested. That's key, not arrested. We've heard this before, haven't we? Instead, he was transported to a local hospital to be held under protective custody for a psychiatric evaluation. As a result of the incident, Wheeler missed the Holiday Bowl and later apologized for the incident. Wow, what a shame. Dude didn't get to play in the Holiday Bowl? Wow, that's big punishment. And he apologized, so that makes everything okay, right? January 23rd of 2021, Wheeler was arrested in Kent, Washington on domestic violence charges. He was charged with 3 counts of felony domestic violence and later released on a $400,000 bail. Wheeler said he would temporarily retire to get his life together after the incident. He pleaded not guilty to the charges on February 1st, 2021. This is the case that we're going to be discussing today. In an interview with CBS this morning, Alleah Taylor said that she will have to deal with the events that transpired for the rest of her life. She still has to regularly get her concussion checked. She has bolts and steel and a steel plate in her arm that she will have forever. I'm just going to switch out because I don't want to look at the monster anymore. Let's look at this beautiful woman. This is Alleah Taylor. And wow, she's amazing. She is amazing. Alleah says prior to the attack, she and Wheeler had dated for 6 months with barely an argument. She says they were like best friends and did everything together. She introduced him to her family and they would even babysit her nephew together. Alleah says that all changed on January 22nd, starting with a text from Wheeler that he had shaved his head. She said he loved his long hair and refused to cut it. The text surprised and worried her. Alleah recalled that she came home and Wheeler was trying to play it off as if he just kind of cut his hair. But then as time went on throughout the day, he started going downhill emotionally. Alleah later told police it was the beginning of a manic episode, adding that she knew Wheeler suffered from bipolar disorder. She said Wheeler then snapped into a dark place. He stood up and told Alleah to bow down. She asked him why, and he didn't respond. He told her to bow down again, and she told him no. He immediately grabbed her neck, and that's when things began. Wheeler proceeded to strangle her, and she lost consciousness twice. Wheeler then, get this, Wheeler then ate dinner next to what he thought was Alleah's lifeless body. When Alleah came to, she touched her face and saw blood on her hand. She remembers getting up and running to the bathroom. She says Wheeler was standing by the bed near the doorway, sipping a smoothie, and he said, "Wow, you're still alive?" Alleah then locked herself in the bathroom, called 911, texted her family and Wheeler's dad for help. According to police reports, it took 3 officers and 2 sets of handcuffs to restrain Wheeler. Police said Wheeler kept apologizing as he was arrested. Of course. The Seahawks dropped Wheeler and released a statement saying the team strongly condemns this act of domestic violence. Wheeler pleaded not guilty to 3 charges, including domestic violence, assault on February 1st Alleah showed up to the arraignment to face Wheeler in court to say that he is still a threat to her safety. This is great. Let me show you this picture. Wow. I'm here for just a second while I fight with my computer, as always. Very good. So first, let me show you this. These are the injuries that, some of the injuries that she had. On one side, you see them, you know, the happy couple, the best friends that did everything together. And on the other side, you see what this monster did to her. I also have a picture of her in of her when she is in the hospital after the attack. I mean, it doesn't even look like her. Her face is so swollen. It's just monster, 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 monster. But look at this. And this is why I say that she's amazing. She is absolutely amazing. This woman showed up at court. You can see that she still has her arm in a brace. So she's not even completely healed yet. But this woman went to court to face the monster. I think that is so brave and so fantastic. She says that she didn't want Wheeler to think that he had that power over her. Didn't want him to think she wasn't going to defend herself. And she said, I thought, how easy would that be for him and his legal team to be able to say whatever they want without having to look me in the eye? Right on, girl. I mean, fantastic. Alleah says the hardest part of all of this wasn't the surgeries. The hardest part was getting a call from her niece and nephews. They thought they had lost her. She says she will never forget the pain in their voices. Alleah says she is beyond grateful to be alive, and she feels like God has blessed her with another chance, and she wants to use that time that she has been blessed with to help other people. She wants to get the story out and make sure that people don't feel alone. So, here's the monster at court. Go back to this one. Okay. So, Wheeler's charges are first degree get on YouTube. First degree DV assault, DV unlawful imprisonment, both felonies, and resisting arrest, which is a misdemeanor under Washington state law. Prosecutors said in a filing that Wheeler allegedly attacked and strangled the victim in her bedroom on January 22nd. He allegedly beat her into unconsciousness twice and left her for dead both times. According to prosecutors, at one point during the attack, Wheeler allegedly forced his fingers into her mouth and down her throat and crushed his hand down over her nose and mouth while squeezing her throat with his other hand. The woman lost consciousness twice as Wheeler allegedly strangled her. The victim later recalled trying to roll away, but Wheeler violently grabbed her left arm and ripped her body back towards him. When she regained consciousness for the second time, she saw Wheeler come back into the bedroom, and he said, "Oh, you're still alive." A police report said officers responded to a domestic dispute at an apartment in the city of Kent after Alleah called 911 and told the operator she was being killed. When they arrived, she was screaming from inside, prompting officers to force entry into the home. Wheeler initially resisted arrest before officers detained him. Prosecutors said officers used a taser once to his body, but it had little effect. Remember, this guy is huge. Alleah was hospitalized after officers found her with her face covered in blood and her left arm was limp against her body. The report lists Alleah as 5'9", weighing 145 pounds, and Wheeler, as I told you before, 6'7", weighing 310 pounds. Alleah alleged that Wheeler suffers from bipolar disorder and was taking medication but had not been taking it recently. Wheeler posted a series of tweets, which I have right here, apologizing, saying that events happened over the weekend that transpired from a manic episode. He also tweeted, "It is time for me to walk away from football and get the help I need to never again pose a threat to another. I cannot express my sorrow or remorse enough. I am truly ashamed." To that I say, you didn't temporarily retire. You did not walk away from football. You were released by your team, and with any luck, no team in their right mind will ever have you on their team again. Wheeler was booked into King County Jail and was released on $400,000 bond. A judge ordered Wheeler to have no contact with the victim and to surrender any weapons. Prosecutors asked the court to place Wheeler on an electronic home detention and that his ankle monitoring device be equipped with GPS. Now Wheeler is in trouble again. He is now reportedly in violation of the court order because he removed his electronic home monitoring device. According to court documents, Wheeler's defense attorney said his client was experiencing a mental health crisis on the evening of July 31st when he took off all of his clothes, removed the ankle monitor, and began wandering the streets of the Seattle suburb of Redmond. A friend located Wheeler, called for help, and took a photo of him as he was being tended to by first responders while naked. Wheeler was taken to a hospital for a mental health evaluation and released the next morning. And not even like late in the morning, it was like 4 a.m. in the morning, according to the documents. Wheeler appeared in court on August 2nd, where a judge ruled he will remain on an electronic home monitoring device with a bi-monthly urinalysis, and it was also ordered that his medication intake be monitored by professionals. This is all despite efforts from the prosecution to raise Wheeler's bail and keep him in custody. Prosecutors wanted his bail raised from the $400,000 to $800,000, but the judge didn't go for it. So, Alleah must be notified if there is a home monitor violation, which shouldn't she have been notified the first time around, but now it's in the court records. Wheeler's trial, which has been pushed back several times, is now scheduled for September 26th. A conviction could lead to an 8 to 12-year prison sentence, which, in my opinion, is not nearly enough since she's going to be dealing with this for the rest of her life. I don't know how this recent violation will affect the sentencing guidelines, but am I the only one that finds it ridiculous that he violated a court order for monitoring him and they let him go back home on monitoring again? I mean, throw him in jail. I don't get it. And of course, CTE is being thrown around again. If you did not watch my first video, CTE is chronic traumatic encephalitis, and it's brought on by repeated head trauma and concussions. So it is almost always brought into the conversation when there is a violent criminal act by a football player. It can't be diagnosed until after death. It's found at autopsy after studying the brain. It is very common. Some people show symptoms, some people don't. There's no way to know in life if someone is suffering with it or not, but as I noted, he did suffer a lot of concussions when he was playing ball in his early years. I'm sure he probably suffered a few more in the NFL in the few games that he played, but it's already being brought up. Now, this guy obviously has mental issues. Apparently, he has bipolar disorder. And, you know, maybe that was a factor in his behavior. So why do we need to throw CTE into the conversation? I said it last week. I'll say it again. We're going to do a video that really focuses in on CTE and why there are some experts out there that feel like we may start seeing this as a legal defense, which I think is ridiculous. But anyway, that is it for today's episode of Crime and Football. Like I said, I have the DV hotline above, and if you are in a situation or you know someone who is in a situation involving domestic violence, sorry, YouTube, please call that number and do what you can to get out of the situation. I want the story out there as much as Alleah. We really need to see less of these cases, not just with the football players, but just in society in general. But when it happens and it's a celebrity involved, it does get coverage, it does get it out there, it gets it talked about. But Alleah wants her story out there, and so do I. So give this video a thumbs up to help boost it in the algorithm so more people can see it and more people can hear about what this monster did to Alleah Taylor. I will follow his trial if it really happens in September, and we'll update you on what kind of punishment he gets. We're all hoping that Alleah gets the justice that she deserves. 8 to 12 years doesn't sound like a lot, but it's better than nothing. It's better than a slap on the wrist, which seems like what he's been given in the past. So give it a thumbs up, share it on your social media with anybody that is a true crime or football fan or both like me. Talk about Alleah's story. Let everybody know they're not alone. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would encourage you to do so. Click the bell to all, and you will get notified every time I upload a video, not just about true crime and football, but all the other cases that I am covering here. And thank you, as always, for spending part of your day with me to learn about Alleah Taylor's case, to learn about what this monster Chad Wheeler did to her. And as always, I will see you in the next one.